Okay, so the agenda, we'll open up in prayer in a minute. We'll go through the mission and vision, give you an update on the strategic plan. I'll have our IB coordinators, and I believe Megan Roach, the IB primary years coordinator, is online, and maybe Ann Taylor will be able to join us as middle years coordinator. Mrs. Ramos is our student life director, and she'll be talking about the WCEA accreditation update. And then Charlotte Demick, one of our middle years teachers, math teacher and science teacher extraordinaire, will tell a little bit about the MAP data. I'll take us through the parent perception survey, and then we'll end with the finance report and coming attractions. And our development director, Jess Cunningham, is online, as well as our business manager, Jennifer Robin. But let's first start with prayer. Today's a special day for me. 30 years ago, we welcomed our first son to this amazing world in the beautiful city of Rottingen, Germany, just outside of Dusseldorf, where we were living and both working in an international school environment. And it was there that I really became humbled by America not being the number one for everything in education, that I learned a great deal about other ways to deliver instruction, to engage learners from 47 other countries in that environment. And it was eye-opening. And that's where the start of the IB notion happened. And when I came back to the States temporarily, because I always thought I'd go back, and we ended up staying, I thought I would love to see this in a Catholic school. And so I began that process. So I'm dedicating tonight's State of the School to our dear son, Joseph Aloysius. That's him in the corner there. He was diagnosed with acute myelogenous leukemia, and when we got back to the States, and so we've had the journey to go through that treatment and ending in bone marrow transplant, where his donor was from the East Coast. We didn't know her, but he had his transplant on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. So that was going to be the second birthday there. And so I love this Irish prayer, and it's in memory of our beautiful son, Joseph. So in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Good and gracious God, thank you for having these people attend tonight's presentation of St. Luke's School. We thank you for the gifts that you have blessed us with as staff. We feel so honored that these people here have chosen to send their children, the gift from you, to our school, and guide us through our discussion tonight in our presentation. And here's the prayer. May God grant you always a sunbeam to warm you, a moonbeam to charm you, a sheltering angel so nothing can harm you, laughter to cheer you, faithful friends near you, and whenever you pray, heaven to hear you. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I love this mission, and I also love this image. These are two children that are in our school right now, and that's the gift we sent out to all of our parents. It was just a little candle that has our message of igniting hope, one light, many candles. And it really exemplifies our school mission. Through inquiry and reflection, we educate globally minded citizens who live the love of Jesus. And if you were to walk into our school, and even if you were going there distance learning, you should be able to see this. We are inquiring minds, hearts for Jesus and hands for service. In this vision here, I'm going to read it to you. St. Luke's School is a community rooted in the Catholic faith, number one, and committed to innovative teaching practices. We educate the whole child to live a life filled with faith and purpose, which opens a path to inner peace and respect for others. We honor the unique gifts of each student and nurture thoughtful, independent learners who ask questions and solve problems to create a better world. And that vision statement truly is alive and well at St. Luke's School. And it was a blessing yesterday as I watched our first Lenten Mass when the fourth graders were in the church. And I know all those fourth graders because I see them out at recess all the time. And they just look like little angels there in the pews. And to hear the three readers read, it just made me feel proud to be a part of this school where we can practice our faith and we can embrace a very diverse community of learners. We have a strategic plan, and this is the first part of the plan in leadership, under leadership and management, is to ensure leadership throughout the school has the necessary skills, tools, and framework to assure long-term stable governance. And so right now we are working with, obviously in the state of COVID, many agencies throughout to make sure we're following protocols, following procedures, staying current on what we need to do to give the absolute best education to our students in either a hybrid fashion if they're at home learning remotely, as well as in person. And now that we have everybody back, grades pre-K through 8, it's just amazing to watch these children who were struggling a bit, as I think some of our families were, with learning on a screen. We know in person is the best, absolutely. And we also have to honor those who are having some bit of a struggle still, like, I'm not ready to come back just yet. So we honor that. But I also had to be very mindful of our staff and what can we do to support them, because that's a whole different way of delivering instruction. So we're excited to have people back. It's nice to have a first day of school when every grade band does come back and see them just socially interact when they're out there on the playground. That St. Luke Parish School connection, and as a school, we are the largest ministry of the parish. And so we pride ourselves in having a dynamic, collaborative relationship with the school and the wider parish. And in order for us to really make sure that we're living our mission of mission and service for others, we set up a few years ago a person on our school commission to serve as the chair between parish and school life, so that we are working in partnership on service projects, on Lenten and other themes throughout the seasons of the church throughout the year. But this service piece is huge. And last year, it was very robust before COVID with our Veterans Project. That was something that we formed at the beginning of the year, and we kept it ongoing. So it wasn't just a one-off. We do have food drives that support the St. Vincent de Paul Society. There's a partnership with the parish. And that's important that our students know that there are people right here within our community that are in need. And they may not be the typical family that you would recognize, because COVID took us down a different path. And prior to COVID, there still were great needs. So we want to keep that parish life going. You'll hear from Mrs. Ramos when she goes into the accreditation report. There's an action plan focused just on that. And again, we will continue to look at expanding service opportunities throughout our school year, even during this remote learning time, and moving into the time when we were back in person without a pandemic. So in learning and education, this goal here in the strategic plan is to develop spiritual, confident, creative, and critical thinkers through continuous enhancement of the learner's experiences. That's a huge goal for us to keep moving forward with, always grounded in our faith. But the piece I want you to look at is confident and creative learners. And you'll hear from Megan Roach, our IB coordinator, and perhaps Anne, that it isn't just getting knowledge. You can get that from almost any device, book, conversations. It's what you do with that knowledge to make meaning out of it and make it out in a way that you are confident, you're creative. You'll see this example, this boy here, he actually was in a second grade science lesson right there. And they were looking on how to construct something out of a simple material that they had that could bear a heavy weight. So there's a whole bit of engineering in there. And there were many, many, many attempts with this little guy here. I know that because he was in the class I was teaching. The more they did it, the more times they practiced, and the times that they failed helped them problem solve. And once they did create something that would bear a weight, they were proud of it, and they were confident, and they could share that construction with others so that they could also deal with it. Which leads us into the International Baccalaureate. this is something we're quite proud of, and I'm going to ask Megan or Ann to jump on right now and talk a little bit about our journey, where we are, and what are the next steps.
So hi everybody, my name is Megan Roach. I'm the PYP Primary Years Program Coordinator, and I did see Ann is with us.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, I guess I'll go. I'm the younger year, so I get to go first. But so the Primary Years Program, as you guys know, is the 3-year-olds all the way up to grade 5. So we're happy to announce that both the PYP and the MYP are officially authorized. So we are the first Catholic IB school on the West Coast.
Woo!
And that's just, it's so exciting because for always the parent perception survey has come back saying people choose St. Luke because of our community and because of our moral education, which you still get here at St. Luke. But now, since we're an authorized IB World School, you're also going to get best teaching that's proven successful around the globe. So that's all I was going to say, but our next steps are really focusing on assessment. And for the primary years program, assessment is really divided into 4 different quadrants. So we're going to spend, being an IB World School, that we're having the right conversations. It's also a moving target. So we've come a really long way and we still have lots of ways we can improve. So our next steps are really focusing on assessment. How do we monitor learning? Which is really scoring less and assessing more. But so we continually ask your students to reflect on their learning so we know what they know and that we can change our teaching practice to accommodate and differentiate our instruction based on student current understanding. And then document learning. How can we make our kids' thinking visible? How do we measure learning? And that's about setting realistic goals so that students know where they need to go to next. And then lastly is how do we report on learning? And we're exploring and we've piloted a few different reporting report cards so that to parents, we're moving more in a narrative direction so that we can, when you get a report card on your student, you can see a snapshot that's very individualized of how your student is learning, what they're learning, and how they, what their goals are for moving forward. And Anne, I saw you on here, so I'm going to pass it on to you.
Thank you, Megan. We are just so excited that we're now really official. Everybody has worked so hard. It's been a long journey, and we now have the next 4 years to really polish our beginnings, continue to work on our units, continue to work on how we use rubrics in assessment, how we're going to report. But I guess the most important thing is the excitement that everybody feels, students and teachers and parents that we hear from, that the IB approach, the principles and practices, it's really exciting to have kids excited about learning. So we're excited, we're there. Yeah. And now we're on a journey. We're on a 4-year journey.
There you go. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Megan. That leads us into the next organization that accredits Catholic schools, and Mrs. Ramos is going to talk about that. But before she does, I just want to applaud the staff and our parents, and most importantly, our students and staff together. We've gone through with this accreditation 3 visiting teams, or will go with 3 visiting teams once accreditation team comes on board March 15th, 16th, and 17th. Another good time to do the Irish blessing. But they have been so wonderful, and they've opened their classrooms, opened their lessons, had dialogue with several people that are really looking at our school. So it is a school that is open-minded, and it is a school that we welcome people to come in and walk through our halls and into our classrooms and engage in those rich conversations. We are better because of that. But I'll tell you, I think there's going to be a lot of celebration on March 17th when we finish this last visiting team come through. And this year's accreditation is headed by Donna Ramos. And Donna, you have done a phenomenal job. So take it away.
Thanks. Well, on the heels of those 2 IB visits, we dove right into preparations for this next visit, and it's the culmination of a year and a half of work. And the process is called a self-study process for improving student learning. And that photo you see is our self-study book, 160-ish pages, and it's the work of many committees that looked at all aspects of our school. How they work together
Forgot there's a meeting about the school tonight.
to educate students
Are you
and
listening to it?
learning. So as Mr. Boyle said, we have a 3-day visit coming up in March. We had a pre-visit in February and have spent time loading online folders with information for the visiting team. And they're going through that now, reading through our self-study, and they'll be coming to verify what they've read. And part of the process is affirming the progress we've made since our last accreditation visit, and then setting goals for the future. So go ahead. And this process really helps us hone in on educating the whole child. So Mr. Boyle can just flip through these next few slides quickly, but these are our school-wide learning expectations. They're on our website, students have them at home, teachers are referring to them and teaching to them in the classroom, and students are reflecting on how they're embodying these qualities that we are all, adults and children, working towards. And then I want to just highlight our goals that we have for the next 6 years. These were reviewed by the school commission, approved by the Office for Catholic Schools. And we are very excited because we felt like these really align well with what we're doing as an IB school to move forward. And we feel like they're robust goals, but goals that we're super excited about. So the first one Megan touched on about expanding authentic instruction and assessment and tying that in with IB criteria. So she explained a little about how that will look in PYP, in MYP. I know you've already been seeing the IB rubrics that we've been working on developing. One of the things that has been happening and you'll see more of is student engagement in co-creating rubrics with the teachers. Next, we're focusing intensively in the next year or so on reporting student learning in a way that feels really authentic and meaningful and aligned with our IB principles and practice. So we're doing a pilot right now and looking for a way to adopt a narrative reporting system that gives that snapshot of the whole child and their learning and growth. And will involve a portfolio component as well. And then supporting student agency, again, is so much a part of IB. And we really want to help our students take what they're learning in the classroom, make meaning of it, and then be able to transfer that to familiar and unfamiliar situations out in the world with the ultimate goal of being global citizens who can make the world a better place. And we want them to have a voice in how they do that, to generate ideas, evaluate those ideas, make choices about what they want to really put their energy into, put those into action, and then reflect on those and just continue to hone their skills in making an impact in the world confidently and creatively. So we're starting to think about ways that we can provide guided opportunities for students to do that here at school and then to branch out into the community. And we're really excited about this because we know that we have students in our building and in our classrooms who are going to excel at this. And we're just so excited to see them flourish and take on those leadership opportunities. And then, as we mentioned earlier, just continuing to build on that collaborative relationship between our school and the rest of St. Luke Parish is so important to us. I remember in last year's perception survey, that came up as a strength and as something that people wanted to continue to build on. So your feedback fed into this process. And it was interesting as we worked in multiple committees, that goal rose to one of the top 3 in quite a few of the committees. So we knew that that's at the heart of our work here at St. Luke. And then educating globally minded citizens, again, at the heart of who we are as an IB school and as a Catholic school. So you'll be hearing more about how we're going to flesh out these goals. We're already working on the strategies, and you'll be getting regular updates about that. And then our final goal came out of our in-depth writing committee. Megan Roach headed that committee, and we had a fabulous team of teachers spanning all grade levels or grade bands. And this was a goal that was really wholeheartedly put forward by the whole staff. We recognize that writing is such a critical academic skill and life skill, and one that spans the whole curriculum. And we want to make sure that we're doing absolutely the best job possible. And we're hoping that over the next few years that we'll be able to really take what we're doing, look at the Common Core standards for English language arts in the area of writing, and make sure that we have a cohesive, comprehensive program all the way from the preschool 3-year-old class up through 8th grade and preparing students for high school and beyond. And as we do that, we'll be developing exemplars so that we can see what does a piece of writing at each grade level in each genre of writing look like that really meets those standards. So we make sure we're consistent and holding our students to a high standard. So again, we're very excited about these goals, and next State of the School, you can expect that our report will be centered around the progress we're making and our next steps.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. So moving forward, again, with this strategic plan on the learning environment, the goal is to continuously enhance our learning environment to be inspiring, modern, safe, and efficient. So what you can see here is that we have classrooms, which is kind of counter to the way we would really like to structure classroom, but we're following the COVID health and safety protocols by making sure that there's social distancing in the classroom, or they're 6 feet apart, and they're wearing masks, and hands are spritzed when they come in from recess. The desks are sanitized before snack and before lunch. And we have it professionally cleaned every evening with our cleaning crew. So the school is in good shape. It's very clean, and our protocols that have been in place since the beginning of the year have resulted in no COVID positive cases at all, which is really wonderful, and I'm very proud of that. We also are looking at making sure that we can sustain 2 classrooms per grade level. And you'll see later on when our marketing director, Alicia Sullivan, gives you a report on what enrollment trends are looking like. We've done some upgrades in our preschool system, and we now have a new intercom system, which is great. That was part of a grant that was written, and also a part of the funded need from our previous auction. And now we can actually speak to the students and teachers out on the playground. And if we weren't in COVID, we could be doing things out there when you come in from carpool. And if you were outside of your car, you could hear some of the shout outs that we do, which is great. So that's just a little bit on how we are enhancing our learning environment. Staff. We want to recruit, support, develop, and retain employees who can fulfill the mission and school-wide learning expectations. I love the pictures. And one of the things that we're doing as we are growing is we want to make sure that we have staff that reflect our students. And now that we are fully authorized, we can recruit for Catholic International Baccalaureate teachers from all over. And we're pretty excited about that. We've invested greatly in our staff so that they are well versed in what it means to deliver instruction in an IB format. A big challenge that our school commission and finance committee embraced was to ensure that the salary and benefit package is competitive with local and state districts. And that's, if those of you are familiar with the McCleary Act that went through, it did give, as it should, a rather large increase to teachers throughout the state of Washington, throughout also other states. And we are responding as a Catholic school to bring our salaries closer to that compensation package. And as long as I'm sitting in this seat, I will continue to make that happen. We also believe that professional development is very important, because the moment a teacher loses that type of support and that type of growth, so do the students that are in front of them while they are teaching. So we always are looking for options to increase our repertoire of skills. And the students, most important, nurture and develop students to strive and achieve their academic, personal, physical, and social goals within the framework of the student learning expectations that you just saw. And those SLEs, they are hand in hand with the International Baccalaureate 10 attributes. This month, we're looking at open-minded as one of the attributes. And I believe you can ask any student in our school what open-minded means, or what is their favorite attribute, or where do they see that happening, and they will be able to tell you about that. It is definitely authentic. And I agree with this. We love having our students back, and they love being back. This is a slide just on the map data. It's just one slide. I've asked Mrs. Dimick, who is our math and science teacher in the middle years, to go ahead and break this one open.
Right, thanks. Yeah, the data is super, super exciting because data is fun. And so what you're seeing here are our winter map scores. And so students took maps in the end of January through early February. And they take it in grades K through 8. And although our kindergarten and first graders don't do the language test, which is grammar, writing, that type of thing, versus it's not like foreign language. And so what's really exciting is you see two numbers there. The first one is us, awesome St. Luke students. And then the other number is the national norms. And these are all means. And what you'll see there, and it's all the ones that are all in cream colored, you're like, wow, we beat the national norms. And this is despite being all the COVID, the remote learning that's been going on over the last year, that despite those impediments to learning, the students they are still learning. And that's a testament to our teachers, the students, most definitely, and you, the parents, who have made learning possible. Because I can say as a parent, learning remotely is really, really hard. And those first graders, especially those really little kids, they can't do it alone. And your middle schoolers, they can't do it alone. So this was a group effort. So go team. And you're like, wait a minute, what about that box over there with the 8th grade? And our 8th grade, and I call your attention to that because what's interesting is, one, the fact that they actually matched the national mean. So that was fascinating. But what's also cool is, as a group, you look at the 8th grade and they're a little bit lower. They're lower than our 7th graders. But despite the fact that, so our 7th graders are awesome, but our 8th graders are too. And it's the fact that we meet students where they are and we take them where they are to grow and learn. And so this group as a whole has a lot of academic needs. What's unique about this group, and again, I want to point out their reading scores, is about 1/3 of the class is dyslexic. So despite needing learning accommodations and needing to learn differently and have information presented in a different way, they can still excel and meet standard and go above standard in math, in reading, in language, despite having learnings, impediments to learning, needing to learn differently. So that's where you see, that's why, though it's not highlighted, is that in this one area, we didn't beat the national norm, but rather they matched it. And that alone is something to be cheered for, because that's just really exciting to see that. But overall, growth across the board for the entire school. So go team. That's my one slide.
Thank you, Mrs. Dimick. We gave out the parent perception survey, and here are the results. We share these every year at the State of the School. So we did have 101 out of 206 families participate. So it's a valid survey, and we definitely value your feedback. We listen to the survey comments, and here are the results. And so we're putting into place a few things right away to address the concern. The mission, vision, and philosophy of the school question, you'll see green is outstanding, love that. And the blue is good, love that. And the improvement is quite low. So you'll see that people really are stating that we are following what we say we will do with mission, vision, and philosophy. Outstanding and good, it's evident that all of you that took the survey are marking us quite outstanding and good in all of these areas about the people that are here in the school, and leadership, faculty, and staff, committed to sharing Catholic values, dedicated to the mission, attentive to student needs, accessible. That's huge to students and parents, is supportive of student success, and they effectively communicates individual student progress. And this was interesting. I don't have this lined up with the past few years like I've done in the past, but this question always surprises me. Why do you send your child to St. Luke's School? And this year it was because of the strong academic program, including the IB, and coupled with not too far behind a religious atmosphere and education. And that's what you want. You want to make sure you have this faith piece in place as the foundation. You want to make sure that the programs are strong, they are supportive wherever your child is and the learning. And as Charlotte said, the nice thing about the measurement of academic performance, progress, that's the MAP test. It assesses where the student is, and you want to see a trajectory going in the right direction. And it's clear that parents are like that quite a bit. They're not just sending their student to our school because it's in a nice location where they could walk to school, perhaps. So that's how it stacked out there, ranking number 1 to 8. Another high one is community, and that always comes up in the comments about how wonderful our community is. Catholic identity, outstanding and good. Again, we are clearly hit it out of the park there with those two areas. That's in mission. Mission and vision, opportunities for prayer, liturgy, and sacraments. And I just love that about our school. Father Brad is very present to our students. They love him. They really do get something out of those homilies all the way on up to middle school, when sometimes it's a challenge. And I think that's because Father Brad, whom you see there on the altar, is the same person you see walking through the hallways, same person at carpool, same person that's ministering to the elderly. He is an authentic person that walks the talk. I also think our teachers of religion are the same. They're approachable, they're grounded in their gospel values, and it's making a huge imprint on the students that we work with. Promotes Catholic identity. School effectively promotes and lives out its Catholic identity in the following ways. Are they prepared for the sacraments? And interesting, the comment that came up here by a few, even though needs for improvement is very small, there was some comments that came up that said, in the sacrament preparation for confirmation, last year, if you remember, grade 7 and grade 8 were put into the same time frame to receive the sacrament, and then COVID hit. And so there was not that personal type of formation like we appreciate. And in the grade 2, that's something they just do really, really well. So they felt it was a little bit rushed to get those sacraments done. And I do want to honor where those comments came from. But by and large, you do feel that we are doing this quite well as making meaningful opportunities for service in the wider community. Look at that, no improvement there. It's all good and outstanding. Atmosphere of which Christian values and attitudes are emphasized and practiced. Again, outstanding and good, no needs for improvement. And they welcome students and families of other faith traditions while remaining true in its Catholic identity. And I love that that data point there, because we do have a variety of faiths that are here at St. Luke's School because they want to be in a faith-based school. And when they learn about the religions, the religious traditions of the Catholic faith, and they experience liturgy through Father Brad's services, and they experience the prayers that we have every single day, and we try to do them weekly when we are in person with our students, it allows people from other faiths to learn about our faith, but also for us to learn about their faith and how important it is. An example of that being when one of our 8th graders from last year did not make it through the journey he was on with leukemia, and the whole school rallied behind that family from the moment of the diagnosis all the way through supporting them through their grief. And that was powerful to see how we have come together as a community, valuing how faith is important at all times, in particular when you're going through some very difficult times. School climate, love this one. Most students and teachers at school respect each other and have good working relationships. Look at that, outstanding. Most of the parents and teachers in our school respect each other and have good working relationships. We do have amazing parents. And I love watching you all at carpool. Yay, you're doing that amazingly well. And most of the students in our school respect each other and have good working relationships. Again, you can see how great those are. And the discipline matters brought to the attention of school are handled properly. So that's a testament to you as parents and to our programs here that our school climate is very, very healthy. Our social emotional learning, as you know, we have the Second Step program. We are a model school for the Committee for Children, and we're blessed to be a part of that, so that we have a common language throughout the grades. There were some comments that in the middle years that this was something that looks a little different. So the communications that go back and forth to home are different than in the primary years. Since that's areas we want to make sure that we are communicating. Sometimes we rely on our middle school students to share with you as parents in a way that when they come up and you ask them, how was your day? And they say, it was fine. Did you learn anything? And their answer sometimes might be, hopefully not, nothing. So you want to challenge them on that. Can you elaborate on those one-word answers? But the social emotional learning this year in particular with COVID is very important to us. When we were all remote, except for our pre-K, I did ask the teachers to really focus in on those essential skills. And that was mostly in the content areas. But as we went through this, we realized an essential skill is how are you doing? How are you navigating this very different way of learning? And so those one-on-one meetings with teacher and student were vital to help students feel valued, feel noticed, and cared about. So now that they're back in school, we're really being intentional, especially during this time of Lent, of reflecting on how are you doing? How are you navigating all of the ups and downs of this pandemic? And are you seeing hope? Are you seeing the light? And how can I help you see that burning brightly? How about this one? Do you have social emotional concerns regarding children? Blue, no. Would you like more information about our social emotional curriculum? Blue, no. But make sure you're covering it. And that's what we're doing. How students learn. This is again, outstanding, good, and improvement. We provide a variety of learning experiences, utilize a variety of quality curriculum materials. And I think that it really is definitely happening. Motivate students to learn, address individual needs, and incorporates technology in learning. Our Grace teachers, we have 2 from our school, Danielle Long from the primary years and Charlotte Dimmick from the middle years. They took on the task this year to see how can we take best practices to engage students in a distance learning format, and delivered those to staff at the beginning of the year, so that when we started the year, we had increased our repertoire of how to engage students. And that is just something ongoing. We wanted to make sure that we provide time for them to get off of technology. Tough to do when that's all we had. And that's when those mental health Fridays came in, and we had some things in place for people just to get outside and to take care of that social emotional need. Do they feel that they're informed about the IB? This I'm happy about, because when we first went into IB, the needs improvement was really quite high. So we made good headway there. Communication. Margaret loved this. Do you read the Thursday packet? She had mostly yes, and she had no no's, and just a few somewhat. She would love to know those names. I said, oh, Margaret, it's okay. Does it keep you informed? Yes. Is it mobile friendly? We're working on that. Most of you say yes, some of you say no, and somewhat. Does the school website keep you informed? I'm very proud of that website, and I think Alicia Sullivan has done a fantastic job with that, and most of you feel that it does. And you have an ample opportunity to communicate with your child's teacher, and look at that. Most of you say yes. Finance, here we go. So the goal in this part of the strategic plan is to make sure our long-term financial stability is there, and to strengthen it and position it in order to achieve operational vitality. So here are some of the numbers. We rely on the annual fund. We kept that fund at 165,000 for the last 2 years, and we are on track to hit that goal again this year and probably exceed it. The parish and school have helped us out with that, and we are at 100% with that. Our alums are supporting us, and our school families. So when you are participating in the annual fund, this year we did it more online than the paper and, pardon me, the mail, but with the pledge card and all that. But there are several ways of making sure you follow through in the annual fund. And this was the first year that when you signed your registration contracts, the annual fund commitment was in there as well. So we're making it easy for you to participate in that. These are our goals. Our financial needs have dramatically increased. In particular, this year, we had some unexpected technology improvements, which you'll see about in a moment. We always want to make sure our PD is in place. We also had to increase staffing because of the guidelines put out by Department of Health and the CDC. And you'll see that there was an increased need for financial assistance, especially at this is for the 1920 school year, when the pandemic hit and many families were impacted. And then we also want to support our IB program and all that goes with that. So here are the annual fund results. You'll see every year we have exceeded our goal of this year 1, 2, and 3. The year was 160,000 was the goal, and look at that, we exceeded it. 194, 192, 192. In year 4 and year 5, and then the current year, year 4 we kept 160,000. But this 2018-19, that was the year that we had an increase in our tuition, but we really did a significant increase, but we really did still hold on to the annual giving, and families stepped up with that. Same thing in year 5 here. So we've made it quite well on a new goal of 165,000. The current year, same goal, and to date, we're at 139,000, hitting 140,000 with 108 that is collected, and we believe we'll hit this 30,000 by the end of the year for sure. It's such a generous population of families. We want to thank you for that. This is for 1920. These are the grants that we received, private foundation, an endowment gift, and name grants. So we have 134,000 in grants. Financial strategic plan, the old one. These were the goals, and we have exceeded those goals. And look at that endowment. To date, we're at 1,450,000. So the endowment is now at a place that we can put into the operating budget a portion of that. And so we have targeted 40,000 from the endowment to go for scholarships. And here's the annual fundraising report. Our script team, yay, do such a great job. They met the goal and exceeded it. And this just gives you kind of a breakdown of the different sources of funding that we rely on. We have reduced the amount from when I first came here, and we have met and exceeded our goals all the time. We kicked off the magazine sale this year, and pardon me, this week. So if you haven't heard about that, you will be. And then here's it by the numbers. Fiscal year 1920, our budget was $3,211,000. You can see the increase from 1819. And these are the balances when we ended in fiscal year 2019-20. Whoops, gotta go back because that slide is a little low. The reason this annual appeal here is so high is because we only pulled over money from the annual appeal that we needed to balance the budget. So that sat over on the balance sheet, but we did pull over more in that 1920. That's to make sure that everything was balanced. That's the reason you see such an increase right there. And the school, again, had a balanced budget, which was great. What I want you to see here in this annual report is you see the largest part of the pie in both the operating revenue and the operating expenses. On the revenue side, the tuition makes up 62% of the revenue that we collect. And the next larger pies are fees, subsidy, and then these three areas here: fundraising, donations, annual appeal. I would maybe throw auctions in there as well. So there's a lot of work that goes into telling our story so that people will want to support that. And we've gone out now and we're asking people to support it, not just on 1 year, but to do it over multiple years. But this part of the pie, 62% operating and revenue goes directly towards tuition. These are our expenses. The largest part of that are salaries and benefits, 80%. And we're trying to move our salaries closer to district salaries. It's a huge goal. We have to be very careful here that we are not overpricing our school so that would impede anyone that wants a Catholic education. We always will, as long as I'm sitting in this chair as principal, I will make sure that if you want a Catholic education and you're an active member of St. Luke Parish, we will do whatever we can to make that happen. And has happened when you look, this just shows you the tuition income. The only thing I want to point over here is, again, it's mostly tuition for K-8, but this yellow part here in 2016-17, that's just the preschool. And look how that preschool grew over the years, which is significant. The pipeline is very strong in our preschool, and you'll see that in a moment. The green are our national students. We started those in 17-18. We had a decrease in the current year, 2021, because they could not travel here. And so we have not as many international students this year as we have in the past, but we are planning on many more coming as soon as COVID is finished. Our tuition assistance program is huge. And this is what I want you to feel good about. Organizations like Fulcrum, they give us $33,003. That's quite strong. The annual fund, you see the 27.7 is there. Private foundations, 128,000. And then look at the unfunded, $309,700. That is a lot of money that went into supporting those who were impacted by COVID or impacted by whatever, where they could not fulfill their contract and they asked for support, and people stepped up to make that happen. So it was twice the amount as the year prior once we went into COVID. So that's something to celebrate. That 309,000 is really incredible. So this year, I just want to leave you with this as far as an update. We did apply for something called the PPP. You might know that. It definitely helped us meet our salaries numbers. We also received several grants from Fulcrum that helped us offset some things that we just were not expecting. Our smart board started to act not so smart and needed to be replaced. So through the generosity of the school partnership grant through Fulcrum, we were able to get them. We had a projected tuition revenue that was down by $100,000. And that just was by financial assistance, as well as our international students not being able to come. Then we had other COVID-related expenses that weren't covered by the grants. Computers died from teachers. We had to purchase the swivel camera so we could deliver instruction back and forth. So there were a lot of things that we had to get that we had not budgeted for, but we were able to make it happen. We were able to balance the budget. That was because of parents, our donors, our incredible staff, and many grants. We crushed it. So our financial picture moving forward is really quite strong. And I'm so excited about that. And part of that was because of the amazing work that the school commission has done, the school finance committee, and how our story is being told. And so I'm going to turn this last part of the presentation over to Alicia Sullivan so that she can talk about enrollment and marketing.
Well, hello, everybody. I have had the great pleasure of getting to know all of the new families that are applying to our school. And it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to all the families and figure out what it is they're looking for in a school, and sharing all of the good news about St. Luke. We have managed to move all of our enrollment events to a virtual platform, and that has been a learning experience for me. Enrollment is at an all-time high. We have implemented a new online platform for our admissions program, which has been a great deal of work over the course of December and January. And we are getting ready to issue acceptance letters and roll new families into digital contracts. So we are doing away with the paper, and we are so thrilled to be in this place. And next slide, Mr. Boyle. This shows you a little bit about our enrollment trends over the last few years. And you can see that as of right now, including the applicants that we have in the pipeline, we are at 388 students, which is an all-time high. I think for the last 10 years, am I right, Mr. Boyle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We do have additional room in some grades, particularly a smattering of 2nd through 8th. A few openings here and there, but tremendous growth in the preschool area, where it proves to us that our idea about growing the preschool for families to be able to have their young ones taken care of here, along with their older ones, having everybody on the same schedule, is just very valuable to all of our families. So it has really grown our school. We have a wonderful preschool team, and we couldn't do without them. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, Mr. Boyle, about enrollment trends?
It's going in the right direction. What's in here is we don't have our international students in there. We have a few of them in there, and I just see that just going through. So this is exciting. When the finance committee met to set the budget for next year, I said, well, we're gonna go with 330. And they said, do you really think you'll get 330 when we've been kind of, 309, 308, 297, 323? You haven't even been there. And I says, I think we're there. I think our message is being heard. And when I saw how many people were looking at our school because of what they have heard, and a lot of that has to do with Alicia and what she's been doing with our marketing, but it's been word of mouth as well. It just went through the roof. So I'm excited. Wouldn't be surprised if we break the 400 mark, which would be kind of cool. So here's what's coming forward. We have a new 5-year financial strategic plan that we're working on right now. So in one of the components I want you to know is that we want to make sure we keep tuition affordable. As we grow, we need more classroom space. I remember there's some teachers online here that says, when are we going to get rid of the splits? And I said, just hang in there. It's coming. And it has happened. So that we do have 2 classrooms per grade level. We are in the process now of looking at the purchase of a modular building for the 2 of the kindergarten classrooms. And if you have anything to do with the city of Shoreland that can help us with permits, please make yourself known. We have the addition of a third preschool 4-year-old classroom that will be in place for next year. And we're now looking at upgrading our classroom furniture. We did have a fundraiser, or we had an annual fund a need that was focused in on different type of furnishings, chairs, and desks to support our learners that might need to move around a bit. And that was successful. We have them, but now that we have COVID, they can't be shared. So they are assigned to certain students, and we want to look at now our desks and our chairs and just things inside of the classroom, tables maybe to replace some of the desks. So something we're looking at. Technology upgrades. Now that we have the new smart boards on board, teachers love them, especially those that will work well with their computers. So the aging ones, we want to make sure we replace those, replace the new staff computers, and then we want to increase the Wi-Fi access bandwidth for students and staff. I should also put in here, we want to increase the technology usage to get to 1-to-1 for our students. We did start this year with bring your own device to school. So far, so good. We are able to make sure that we have a device 1-to-1 pretty much throughout the school. But we have to make sure that that is something that's always updated. And we have a very generous family that has helped us achieve this. That is the Hanson family. So if you're out there, Hansons, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then part of the strategic plan is to establish a buildings and grounds committee so that we plan for the future with growth. We're growing. We want to make sure we have the classroom space and the resources to help support our students. We're going to do a campus refresh so that all around our campus, it needs a little love. And so we have some bids on that and we're working through it. And then on the survey, one of the things that came up is the HVAC system. And so we have done some research on what that would mean to get an HVAC system in it. We do have air purifiers in all of the learning spaces throughout the school, and we do keep the windows open. An HVAC system would just help keep the school ventilated much, much better than what we have right now. So we're looking at all those things as we plan for the future. So because of you, everyone, our school is strong, it's thriving, and faith-filled. That's because of our wonderful community. And I thank you for giving us this hour of time this evening to learn about where we are as a school. We are in the best place I've ever seen it since I came here 7 years ago. And we're financially strong, our programs are strong, and we have a community that is the best I've ever seen. So thank you for your time. Go St. Luke. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I do want to leave you with this. 2 things that we are looking at from the survey that I just have to mention. I mentioned the social emotional learning, and then I'm also going to mention those asynchronous Fridays. So we're looking at that on what we can do with that. And then as we move forward, we want to move those asynchronous Fridays out, definitely for next year. That should not be in place. Just because being in school is the best thing for our students. And as families navigate hybrid and they navigate, okay, do I feel comfortable being back? We're honoring where they are, offering the best type of education that we possibly can so that we can get every back into the school. And I want to thank you for all that you're doing to make that happen. So God bless, stay healthy, wash your hands, wear your mask when you're outside, and stay socially distanced. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, Miss Long.
I think she left already.
Oh, come on, I missed her.